junior year, I took the ACT and scored very well. And so I went early admissions and skipped my senior year and attended Loyola University, which is where I received my Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. I was kind of on the fast track. I entered college at the age of 16 and I finished Loyola in 3 years and began teaching at the age of 19. I had the pleasure, the honor and privilege of being an educator for over 30 years. That is a career that I say I didn't choose, it chose me. I was always trying to be that teacher that children would always remember, that I would be a memorable educator and remember me for the right reasons, that I had a positive impact on their lives. And in a school like St. Rose Elementary School, I touched 650 to 700 students each year, and so my impact was far greater. So it was a couple of days prior to August 17th, on the very first day, which was August 13th, is when I felt the pain in my side. I was at the Meet the Teacher night at my school, welcoming back my families to another school year, and I said, you know, that pain feels different than any pain I've ever had, so I better go check that out. And so the following day, which was a Tuesday, I did, and I was diagnosed with a kidney stone. When I arrived there, the last thing I remember hearing was the physician in the emergency room telling the people who escorted me in from the ambulance I was a very sick woman, and that if I'd only arrived 30 minutes later, he wasn't sure I would make it, that I had a less than 10% chance at surviving that first night, that I was experiencing septic shock. I was then put into a medically induced coma for 7 days. I had not heard of septic shock or people becoming septic, and so I wasn't really aware of that at all. It wasn't until I spent 7 days in the hospital in that medically induced coma that I realized something was happening. On August 17, 2007, I say that my life was forever changed, and some people would think I would say it's for the worse, but it became for the better. It was a long and arduous 2-year recovery. It took every bit of strength that I didn't know I had inside of me to recover. So for the first time, probably in the second or third week in the hospital, I heard the word amputations. And at first, I wasn't quite sure what they were telling me. And they said, you know, your limbs were compromised, the blood flow did not go to them, and so they're dying off. You know, and I thought, what does that mean? And I was told, you'll be facing 4 amputations. I said, I will face whatever this is. I will fight to get back to my quality of life. I will learn to use prosthetic hands and legs, and I will get back to doing what I love to do. When I saw the first student get off the bus and rush over to me to give me a hug, as though I'd never left the building, it was the most emotional moment that I remember in my recovery. And as I welcomed all of my children back, I remember feeling like this is why I pushed myself. This is all worth it. They accepted my disability. They didn't see it as a disability. They saw it like I did, as my possibilities. I became that person who took the I am out of impossible and made things in that building possible. I had one stipulation, and that was that I wasn't going to do it in the wheelchair. I was going to do it when I could walk down the aisle. He left his family, he left his job, he left his friends, moved an hour away to be by my side, and he always puts my needs above his own. And so when you find someone that does that, you know that you found the right person. He's the most unselfish person I could ever meet, because he's always making sure I'm taken care of and puts his needs last. And so he became the person who does everything for me. Who you see before you is because of him. He had never heard of the word makeup, never heard of eyeliner, blush, and now he's my makeup artist. He does my hair. He picks out my clothes. He's become my stylist. And today, if you would say, what perfume are you wearing? I can't tell you. He picks all of that. And you know, all of that makes me grateful and very humbled by the fact that I'm blessed with someone like that.
It wasn't hard for me. I mean, I loved her so much that I wanted her to get better and come back. So whatever it took to make that happen, I was willing to do it. So you love a person that much, you do whatever it takes.
So last year was my 30th year in education, and I decided that I had achieved everything that I set out to achieve. And so it was time for me to look to chapter 2 in my story. And so I retired. And a logical fit for me was to become, I say, an inspirational speaker, because my job is to inspire people to get motivated. I'm just a person who's motivated, and I want to do that for others.